And that 13-3 season in which they lost to the Colts was painful. That Steve McNair was a quarterback.
I was there.
That was painful.
My buddy had his parents had seats 4 rows off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and Peyton Manning didn't kill us. We shot ourselves.
Oh no, it was pretty much field goals.
Yes, all field goals.
And I think that was the most painful loss in Ravens history until the AFC Championship game loss.
Which I was at again. I think there's a common.
You're the problem. Ravens, ban this man. Get his picture. Prevent him from entering the stadium.
Yes,
okay.
You're going to bring us there.
Oh,
You are going to. You are driving the truck now. You're on this. We're either going to crash in a wall or we're going to go up.
No, I'm like one of the guys in the back of the sanitation truck. I'm just hanging on, dude. I'm not driving anything.
So I'm very excited because I learned sports back when I grew up. There was not 24-hour coverage.
No.
There was and sports back then, you got, 5 minutes of a segment in a newscast?
That'd be a lot, yeah.
And I had to learn everything I wanted to know to argue with my buddies a point about sports. Mm-hmm. Well, Mark Viviano said, well, that's how we argued, right?
Yeah.
Because there wasn't Sports Center, there wasn't Fox Sports, there wasn't this and that, and I couldn't quote multiple, and it wasn't just so accessed.
Right.
So, when you took over for John Buren was a mainstay, right? He had his own shtick, right?
John was there for 16 years.
Yeah.
And I came aboard in 2002.
Right. And I was like, and it would be like, guess what's in the Styrofoam cup tonight, right? And that's a whole different story, and we can go. And then you were a WBL guy at that time, correct?
No, I was at I started at WBAL when I came to Baltimore in 1994.
Okay.
I was there for 5.5 years. Then I went to CNN Sports Illustrated.
Oh, wow.
I was there for 2.5 years, signed off that network. I did the last show on CNN Sports Illustrated in May of 2002. I loved it there. It was great. I worked with some great people: Tom Rinaldi, Tom Verducci, Stephen A. Smith.
All mainstays and now all over the place.
Great. John Wertheim, who's with CBS News now. They were great professionals. I had no business working with them, but I did. And I thought I was going to work with them forever. And then AOL bought Time Warner and just said, we don't need you guys anymore. And the beauty was, and just by God's providence, I signed off that network and then started working here the next month. Came back to Baltimore.
Now, you said you were in 94, you came to Baltimore. What brought you to Baltimore? Is it just the market?
Yeah, the job. The gentleman who hired me here in Baltimore in 1994 was my news director in Dayton, Ohio, where I had worked before. And it's funny, you guys probably are familiar with this in the working world. A lot of it is who you know or who knows and trusts you. Like if somebody, so the guy, I got hired first in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, first job I ever had out of the University of Missouri. So I'm working in Cedar Rapids. That general manager moved to Dayton, Ohio. When he moved to Dayton, Ohio, he told the news director in Dayton, the guy that was doing sports in Cedar Rapids, you want to get this guy. So I go to Dayton, Ohio. That news director came here to Baltimore and said, are you coming with me? So it is, you see that in the NFL. You see coaches who move and they start grabbing their players and coaches because they're familiar with them.
Well, now you're seeing it in college sports.
Well, yeah.
That's look at the Terps now, right? Buzz Williams comes to Maryland. He brings his entire staff.
His guys,
He brings his entire team.
That's the way, and it's, you could say if you're the one trying to get in that it's unfair, but it's how it is. It's in every walk of life, in every business. Once someone in the hiring capacity is familiar with people that they know and trust, they will bring them with them. And I just happen to be kind of in that, and that's what brought me here.
Right, and it's all about your break, right?
Yeah, it's huge. Nothing special.
So I didn't know you were predated. You came to a town that was footballless.
None.
At the time, right? We had the CFL, right? There was name struggles all over the place.
Absolutely.
Because they originally were the Baltimore CF Colts.
Yep.
And then they went to the Stallions because the Colts challenged this.
Yep.
So you were here with CFL. I mean, we were dominating the CFL. What's his name? Tracy Ham was
2 Grey Cups, man. Yeah. Lost one, won one. The last game they ever played was a championship game, and then they said, there's an NFL team coming. You got to go.
And then that's when Art Modell, and I remember That was like the greatest day I could remember is when they unveiled the team. Remember they were down in the harbor with, I think Paris Glendenning was the governor at the time. Mayor,
yes, he was.
Mayor
Smoke.
Mayor Smoke was, yeah. And they're like, oh, and they released this grand name, the Baltimore Ravens, and we're like, who in the hell is a Raven, and why do we care?
Right.
And then it's this whole backstory.
You remember the other finalists for names?
I do not. I can't recall it at the moment.
Bombers?
Yes.
Marauders? Rhinos? And there was another one. Someone will remind me. But it was going to be Ravens because of Edgar Allan Poe. That was the one that the league was like, yeah, that's the one that they would have approved.
How was it to break that story? Because there was leaks prior. Like Art Modell made it no secret he was leaving Cleveland.
Well, he made it. Here's the deal. Okay, it's actually 30 years ago this week, as we speak, that I got the first phone call. That was a tip that I want you to know something. This guy was a money guy who did not sign one of those non-disclosure agreements. Who said I can share with you some information.
Sure.
So it was October 23rd of 1995 that I got the first phone call. I had worked in Ohio.
Now, not to interrupt you, when you get that first phone call, you get like little news tips.
Yes.
Do you automatically go into high gear? Now you have to run down. You got to run down like 2 or 3 sources to figure out the confirmation. Right?
Yes, exactly. And that started the process. And that I met with that source because what he was telling me was, I worked in Ohio. I covered the Cleveland Browns. If anybody in Baltimore of age remembers when the Colts left here, and they were an established, historic franchise, much as the Browns were
not
in
to
Cleveland.
predate you, they left 2 months. I was born in May of '84. They left in March of '84.
Well, there you go.
So I was when they left, it was predating me.
Okay, so I knew of the gravity of this potential story. So yes, we had to very carefully flesh it out. And this was at a time, remember, there was no social media presence.
No, you had to call somebody.
You had to call. And I met with this source at a bar, like in a back booth. And he unveiled to me all of these,
check around, make sure you're cloak and dagger, because I'm sure somebody's like, "Oh, Mark Viviano's here. What is he chasing down?"
Well, there were a lot of sleepless nights. There were a lot of denials. There was a lot of naysaying as to the validity of the story, and
because even back when the Colts left, they had to chase down Jim Irsay. They were following him everywhere, right? They were following him to airports. Governor Schaefer, or Mayor Schaefer at the time, followed him on the aircraft.
Yeah.
Just to chase him down to see what he was doing because of the rumors. So, fast forward that with the technology, it's a little bit better than back in '84.
But still, it was. Now, if you tried to break a story of that scope today, the first report you would lose the story because everyone would have it, everyone would take ownership of it, everyone would make their own investigations into the likelihood of this first nugget, which is fine.
And they get posted immediately.
Yeah, at that time, no one had the hook that we had into the story, and we were able to really just follow it all the way across the goal line without anyone taking it, owning it. In fact, there were more denials and questions about its validity than there were anybody saying, I think he's onto something.
Now, at the time, was he still trying to negotiate a stadium deal with Cleveland, or was he
was done? He was done with it, and then the mayor, Mike White of Cleveland, tried to get a last minute, hey man, you got to come to the table with us, and then they made him the villain because they had put Art Modell on the back burner for so long. They built Jacobs Field, they built their museum, and they just put him on the back burner to the point where he knew there was time he had to get here to get the deal that Maryland had for him through the stadium authority.
Right, because he was losing money.
Oh, he was losing money. He would have lost the team.
He was losing millions, and that's how Steve Bisciotti, the new owner, got into it because he needed a backdoor fund to bring him.
Yep.
And then so I feel like I'm lucky enough, and I think my kids will never have that experience, to watch the inception of an NFL team from start. Right, everybody has all this history. I can remember the first players
Oh, yeah.
Ernest Biner came over, right? Who else came over? There was
Vinny Testaverde scored the first touchdown in Ravens history. He ran it in.
We had, and everybody goes, well, Lamar has this great offense. That was a high-powered offense. Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Who else was on that? Another wide receiver was on there.
My mind is failing. I'll think of him. Yeah. His name will just pop into my head later. But no, they had a good offense.
They had a high-powered offense.
They could do it, and they had Pro Bowl receivers back then.
Yes.
I don't think they've had a Pro Bowl receiver until Zay Flowers.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they were legit offense. They couldn't play defense for a lick, though.
So when you were chasing down this story, were you going, this is going to be my big break into this market. I'm breaking this. I'm now planting myself firmly into the market that I broke this story, or did you just chase it down with the due regard that you would do any story?
It was the scope of it was such that all your focus had to be on getting it right, because it could have broken me.
Yeah.
Had that not come to fruition, I would have been just, all right, new guy, just got played, idiot. And I would have been just an idiot.
And
I'd have been a village
your credibility
idiot.
is gone.
Right. And let's face it, too. The nature of stories are that you can have a thread of truth, and you can be onto it. But once you start reporting it, somebody could have reached out to Art, and Art could have taken the call and said, oh, you are going to build me a $500 million stadium.
Right.
Good, I'll stay. And then it would have been like, that idiot thought you were moving.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it all plays in, but it played out to the benefit of Baltimore for sure, and to the detriment of Cleveland.
Now with this 24-hour coverage, you lose the credibility sometimes.
Oh, you just lose credit if that's important to you. Hey, listen. Getting the story right was all that mattered, and now you don't worry. I don't.
You kind of just throw things up on a wall and see what sticks.
Well, that does happen a lot. You want to avoid that. My goodness, but the age of social media, there are a lot of reporters.
Yeah.
I mean, you could be a reporter.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, and I'm not saying you're not.
Yeah.
That's the reality. That is the reality of it, and that's okay. Things change with them. What do we say? Adapt or die.
Yeah.
That's it. So I've had to adapt in a lot of ways. And then I retired a year ago, so I'm out of the game just as it's getting probably beyond what would have been my comfort.
And I think a lot of people, once you get older and something, you kind of like have to find a way to walk away, right? Like if I was aging in sports and the sports are changing, for example, baseball went from a manager's field, now it's analytical driven.
True.
And that's why we're losing a lot of the older managers, because they can't keep up with the analytics.
Yeah.
And I guess that's some way in your field, right?
A little bit. I think I adapted to a lot of the social media demands that were new to it. The last 5-6 years of my career, I would grab all the recording gear, camera, tripod, microphones, and go to spring training by myself.
Oh, wow.
Gather all the, it's not beyond me. It's fine with me. I don't mind doing stuff like that because I had to. It's either that or you don't go.
Yeah.
I was happy to go. And so, adapt.
Spring training was fun then, wasn't it?
You say fun.
So here's what I'm going to say.
I say it's work. It's
right.
work, but there's nothing wrong with working in Sarasota, Florida, when it's 73 degrees and everybody else there's snow. So in that regard, it's pleasant, but it's work. I would get up at 6:30 in the morning. I would do coverage at the field, shooting my own video, my own interviews, sending them back for editing, writing. Do 5, 6, and 11 o'clock live shots from Sarasota.
And you had to build stories for each broadcast.
Yeah. So, again, I love the subject matter. Love that I was able to do it, but it is work.
Yeah.
But it's work I loved.
But I think then it was fun for a fan the way they had training camp. It was open.
Yeah.
I can remember I botched. We would do field goals during practice, and Matt Stover. I mean, he kicked. It must have been. I felt like 100 miles per hour. And I was happening to get behind the goalpost, and it hit me right in the chest. And
I'm just like in Westminster?
Yes, in Westminster. And I'm like, all my breath left. But I think adults ruined that experience because it was autograph time.
Yeah.
And I feel like we had that connection with the team because we were so close.
Yeah.
Like I remember I went to training camp almost every day when Joe Flacco was drafted.
Okay.
Like this new, because we coming out of the Kyle Bowler era. And then we were. Who else? It was the kid from Ohio State that
Troy Smith.
Troy Smith had the mysterious illness. All of a sudden.
That's when Joe
was a third-string quarterback, and I think there was 4 quarterbacks in training camp that year.
There you go. It started.
But and then the illness happened, and then something happened to Kyle Bowler, and all of a sudden, here's this kid from Delaware that nobody knew about.
Right.
And because, we're listening to the draft and like Joe Flacco, I'm like, who? And all you see is this kid with a unibrow, and you're like, oh, crap, here we go for another.
And they
couple
traded up
years.
to get him.
Yes.
And they wanted the quarterback that the Falcons got, Matt Ryan.
And that's what everybody suspected. Matt Ryan's going to the Ravens.
Yeah.
And the Falcons traded up again to get Matt Ryan. And you're like, oh, man, we're
It
doomed.
worked out.
Yeah.
Worked out. And Joe's still playing. And Matt Ryan's on TV.
It was magical watching him on Thursday Night Football.
That was pretty cool. I love that guy. He's awesome.
And he's so down to earth.
He's a guy. Let me tell you, if you had the connection, Joe would sit here and talk to you. He's that kind of a guy. Like he's from Audubon, New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
This is the guy who, when he was drafted, what are you going to do with the money you got? He bought his mother a lawnmower because that's what she wanted.
And he was living out of her basement, right?
I mean, just a simple dude. Now he's a dad. He's got 5 kids. He's 40 years old, and he's still slinging it. He's as down to earth as you described. Yeah. That's really him.
Because I think after he signed his contract here, which was the richest contract of its time, they got pictures of him at McDonald's.
Driving through a McDonald's.
Yeah, exactly.
There's video of him. He used to park his car in the economy lot at BWI and get on the bus to take him to the terminal. And people are like getting video of him like, dude.
Well,
I think
videos just came out when he got traded from Cleveland to Cincinnati. He was on an economy flight, and the only thing he was in business class, and everybody has pictures of him.
That's Joe.
You think the Bengals would send a private jet to make sure this is undercover.
Yeah, and that's why I think he, besides his success, then he won a Super Bowl. But I think that he resonated with Baltimore, like working class, normal dude,
lunch pail guy. Can't show up to work.
And that New Jersey accent of his is similar to a Baltimore one too. So he fit right in.
So during that time, we went from Ted Marchibroda to Brian Billick. Brian Billick won us the Super Bowl, and then the year after they went 13-3, it was a total flop, right?
Yeah.
They had the worst season probably in, I think it was franchise history at the time.
And that 13-3 season in which they lost the Colts was painful. That Steve McNair was a quarterback.
I was there.
That was painful.
My buddy his parents had seats 4 rows off.
Yep.
And I'm like, and Peyton Manning didn't kill us. We shot ourselves.
Oh no,
100%.
it was pretty much field goals.
Yes, all field goals.
And I think that was the most painful loss in Ravens history until the AFC Championship game loss.
Which I was at again. I think there's a common.
You're the problem. Ravens, ban this man. Get his picture. Prevent him from entering the stadium.
God, he's back. No, we're done. But you were also on the radio at that time.
Yeah, well, I did 6 years on CBS Radio.
And you were on from 10 to 2.
Yeah.
And you were with the Bulldog.
Bulldog Damon Yaffe.
And people don't like him, but I think he was to the point.
He was perfect balance to me.
Right, you gave like the softer feel of it, and like you would. This is just my perception.
Oh, no, you got it.
You didn't want to put Brian Billick down. It's all his fault. He needs to pack his bags and get the hell out of town. Right. That was Damon Yaffe's kind of point.
Yeah, he was great at that.
Yours point is like, well, he didn't have the personnel.
Yeah, I'm not. That's and you know what? Damon was every bit of who he was on the radio, and I'm every bit of who I am when I do that too. It's like nobody had to make anything up. There was one time, true story. So in the many iterations of Oriole managers, they were looking for another manager, and Rick Dempsey had interviewed.
Yes, I remember.
And Damon was on the radio just saying he's a clown. He's not a man. Dempsey was listening. Dempsey drove to the radio station. Dempsey came into the radio station and wanted to go on the air to refute what Damon had said. And I know Rick, and I'm like, all right, Rick, we're going to do this, but you got to be civil here. And he's like, I got it. He's a professional. They sat down and hashed it out hardcore. It was some of the best radio I've ever heard.
And that's what you need. That's what we're missing, I think, a little bit now.
Oh, yeah, you'd never get that.
You can't argue anymore. It's either it's my point, that's it.
Well, there's a lot of arguments. I just don't know how genuine a lot of it is. I think there's a lot of fabricated. I don't mean to criticize. Everybody's got their shtick. Everybody's got their thing.
Sure.
And whatever works, let it work. At this point, I'm not into the argument thing. I'm just not into it.
It's funny because I did call in the radio show at the Brian Billick the big fire Brian Billick era, and you're like, oh come on, you're like you can't do that. You can't come on here and say that you want to fire him. He's not even doing anything. It was really not his fault. It was the team that he was handed. Now maybe I think
it was time. And you know what? Steve Bisciotti knew it. Steve
wanted his head coach.
He wanted his head coach, and his first head coach decision was not John Harbaugh.
Nope. That was when they went over Rex Ryan.
No, he wanted.
I'm sorry, Jason Garrett.
He wanted Jason Garrett. Jason Garrett. They were ready to finish the deal, and then Jerry Jones said, "You'll be the highest paid offensive coordinator in the NFL, and you'll be my next head coach." And then he stayed. But the Harbaugh thing worked out 18 years ago, and in a Super Bowl.
I think Brian Billick was fired for Kyle Bowler. He had to fall on the sword for Kyle Bowler. That was his guy. He brought him in.
He also brought in Scott Mitchell.
Correct.
And asked you to take a leap of faith.
Elvis Gerback.
Yep, Elvis. Well, Elvis, that didn't work out.
That was when they cut Dilfer, right? The Super Bowl winning MVP.
Right.
And they said, we're good. We're going to go find somebody else now.
Well, all of that to say, think about it. They won a Super Bowl, their first Super Bowl, with a quarterback they didn't even want. And then they get Joe Flacco, who you mentioned, and transition right into Lamar Jackson.
Correct.
Seamless.
Yes.
And think about and look around the NFL. Just do the Cleveland Browns. Even the Pittsburgh Steelers, the stability of the Pittsburgh Steelers, ever since Roethlisberger retired. Look what they've gone through. Teams that can do legacy quarterbacks back-to-back are rare.
Correct.
And you're going to see continued success in that. Albeit this, as we speak right now, the Ravens are struggling. But I would say, in totality, quite a run of quarterback play.
Right. And I think, when the 49ers did it seamlessly back in the 80s and 90s, they went from this Hall of Fame quarterback
to another Hall of Fame quarterback.
Right, to another, to his successor, a guy who played very little college, was in the what was that, the UFL at the time?
Yeah, USFL.
And it was a left-handed quarterback, and they said at the time, running left-handed quarterbacks do not work.
Well.
And Michael Vick changed that story real quick. So, and I remember calling in the radio station, and you kind of blew me off. Like, and that's that was the kinder, gentler point of view. Is like, well, who are you going to get? And I didn't have an answer. You're like, well, that's my point. You can't fire a coach if you don't have a heir apparent.
Well, there's always somebody, because nobody had John Harbaugh on their card.
No, not at
Nobody did. And in fact, there were a number of people who were like, who is this guy? Like,
And Rex Ryan thought he had the job. He was parking in the head coach's parking spot. He came in, and I can only imagine him coming into the interview with his feet on the table going, are we really going to talk about this?
Yeah. And Rex got a shot with the Jets. And
now, so we're getting up to the Super Bowl, the second Super Bowl. So I got to ask you about two conspiracies that have haunted Baltimore forever in sports.
Okay.
Do you know what they are?
Probably both have something to do with lights going out.
Correct. Yes.
There was the Cal Ripken night against the Mariners.
And how many stories have you heard of what happened that night?
I haven't counted them, but I've heard many, none of which have been, rooted in anything that I would call fact.
Right.
The urban legend type stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But to have it happen during the Super Bowl with another Baltimore sports, and I was telling him before he got here, it's like, and this is what I want to ask you, is what was your thoughts when the Ravens are absolutely pounding the 49ers are they're on the bus on the way home, right? That was right after the Jones run back. That was game, set, match.
Yeah, it was done.
The momentum's gone. And then the lights go out for 38 minutes.
Yeah.
Were you there?
Oh, yeah. I was there. A couple things. One of the things I first thought about was like terrorism or something.
Correct.
Like when you're there, it's like there's nowhere to go.
Was it like shocking at first? You're like they didn't really. I don't know if you ever watched the TV broadcast of what.
I never have.
Night.
Now that you mention it, no.
So I think they were stunned, and they were trying to. And I think the NFL was like, okay, maybe we'll get this back in a few seconds. We're going to let the play. I think they ran a play or two into the darkness a little bit. I can't remember exactly.
I don't think they would have, and I don't recall specifically, but yeah, it was absolutely bizarre. And I, you just sat back and just wondered, if it was something nefarious or dangerous. That beyond that, I don't know. Somebody plug it back in. Let's go.
Flip the switch.
Let's go.
This is funny, right?
Yeah.
As a reporter and as a news guy, are you thinking of, okay, is your mind going like 1,000 times a minute?
Yeah, it's like, what's the
story going to be?
What's it going to be? That's pretty much, when people ask me, you go to games for a living. It's like, if I would have thought about it, I would have brought you what it looks like, how I watch a football game. It's like 5 pages in 6 different colors of highlighted notes of the flow of the game, down distance, transactions, key plays. So that's how I watch a game. It's not like I'm sitting there eating popcorn. It's like I'm...
And I think that's what
and I'm writing down the time of game, time of day, because it relates to the tape that my videographer's shooting that I need to get to specifically. Okay, that happened at 2:15 p.m., time on clock, 8:03, second quarter. It's like you're doing all this. That's how I watch football. It's like this. So yeah, you're constantly thinking of the flow, of the story, of significant transitions in a game, significant moments, and then this happens. Then the lights go out, and you're like, okay.
And you kind of like, as a fan, you're like, there goes our momentum. We were pounding.
Oh, sure.
And you're like, now they have to come back after a 30-minute.
Yeah.
It may have been more than 38 minutes. Some reason that's sticking in my mind. And you're like, they got to come back and play. And an NFL player, as an athlete, you got to re-warm up because your body's now cold.
Yeah. It's funny. I would have to look back at the actual report that I filed because we were on live for a couple hours. How much I put into, like, if they'd have lost, that would have risen to the level of that changed the game. The lights went out, it changed the game. It did change the game, but it didn't end the game for them.
No.
They still won the game.
Right. They hung on.
They hung on and won the game. And then San Francisco's point of view is, it wasn't the lights being out, is that you didn't call pass interference on Jimmy Smith on Michael Crabtree on that last pass. And that's fine. Let's have that debate,
The most famous John Harbaugh temper tantrum I think I've ever seen, where he's going, holding. You remember that? and I think when they did the DVDs, you could hear Joe. Remember, I think Joe was like on the ensuing kickoff because there was a safety.
Correct.
Right.
And
So
Joe said he was going to trip him.
He goes, what can he really do?
Yeah, well,
they're going to give him a penalty, right?
That's
they can
right.
kick him out or whatever. Would it be worth it, though?
It'd be pretty famous.
Mike Tomlin did it.
Mike Tomlin did it.
Yeah. He claims he didn't do it.
Nah, he didn't do it on purpose.
I know he's not on purpose, but it's like...
He claimed it was not on purpose.
You knew Jacoby Jones was going to take one back on you eventually.
Yeah, and there it was.
Yeah.
Should have been. Should have been anyway. But yeah.
So now we transitioned out of the Super Bowl era. It's a high. Life is great around here, right?
Yeah. Super Bowl's
now
pretty cool.
we got to rebuild for the next few years. To take you back to the 2000 and I know people have talked this to death or whatever else. When the Ray Lewis story broke in Atlanta, how far were you? You were probably all night, right?
Well, here's the deal. I lived in Atlanta then. I had left in December of '99 to go to CNN in Atlanta.
Right, you said that, yeah.
So I had just started in Atlanta in December. So in January, the Super Bowl is in Atlanta. And I'm at the studios of CNN Sports Illustrated in the CNN Center. The Rams and the Titans play. Great game. Amazing finish to that game.
Well, that was the one where he dove out.
Yeah.
He dove out and he missed it by like 3 yards.
Right. They stopped him, and the Rams won their Super Bowl. So what I ended up doing is CNN had me covering the trial in Atlanta that spring. And that was not, of all the things you had thought you would do, covering a murder trial for CNN in Atlanta, where you now live, because I had moved down there, and that's who I worked for. That was surreal.
So I had a neighbor. So I live in. You said you live in you live in the Anne Arundel County area.
I do now. Yeah.
I live in South County a little bit further. I live in the Edgewater area.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
In Annapolis.
Yep.
And we had a reporter. I didn't know he was a reporter. He was just a good guy from the Washington Post that lived like 3 houses down. It's amazing who you can find here, your neighbors, right? Yeah. And we were talking, and he was actually wanted my daughter to babysit for him, so they can go out and whatever else. And we were talking. He goes, "That's the one." He was a sports reporter for the Washington Post. That night made him. He got out of sports.
Really?
He went into crime and justice.
Wow.
After that, he said he could not cover. He did not have the stomach for sports after all that happened. And I think it's a lot of people have their own theories. I don't know what happened that night. I'm sure we could chase it down. And somebody's going to tell the truth eventually.
Well, they still haven't found a murderer.
Right.
And Ray Lewis was not the murderer.
I don't think he was ever.
There was no. He obstructed, and that's what he pled to. But yeah, that was just a sad chapter on many levels, no greater than the family that lost loved ones.
Correct.
That's the greatest loss.
But I think what he did with his career and what he did as a person changed him forever.
Oh, for sure.
He became this holy guy that wanted to counsel people from that point on. And I think that people reflect on what happened that night, and then they go, well, that's like a Michael Vick stigma that you got to hold him to. I think it's the way he lived his life after that. I think could be forgave, right? You got to forgive at some point.
No, there's no doubt. I mean, the Ray Rice situation as well.
Correct.
I mean, I know Ray. I did some shows with Ray. I mean, this is a man who's fully accepted responsibility for what was on video of him and his then fiance. He's accepted it. He has embraced the fact that he can be someone who could help others through any similar situations.
And I tried to counsel my kids. I have 3 kids, and I'm like, 30 seconds can change your life forever.
Yeah.
And I don't think they get that yet. But that 30 seconds he was on that video, or that 30 seconds in that limo, perhaps changed the course of both their lives.
Oh, no question.
And I think, we make mistakes all the time, off camera or off in our own little lives. And I don't think people realize that we make mistakes. We're just not videoed.
Right. And to your point, like your life to others can be defined by the worst 30 seconds of your life.
Yeah.
It can be.
Yeah, exactly.
In the mind of others.
Sure.
But it's then incumbent upon you to see your life in totality, understand the gravity of your poor choices or whatever it may be, and move on.
Yeah.
And do so with grace, man. And
exactly.
Just swallow hard and say, screwed up.
So we got beyond that point where we won our second Super Bowl, which the first Super Bowl was fun because I was a kid, and I was down here at City Hall.
Oh, wow.
And I remember the city council, I think Sheila Dixon was on at the time. She was the city council president. Mayor, it was Martin O'Malley as the mayor. And they kept blocking the stage. And the only chant that, true Baltimore way is, move back. We were just chanting over and over, chirping at them. And I don't think anybody knows how rich this town is in sports, in sports history, and how we're a different breed of sports fans.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I can remember a sports cast on it was Sunday Night Football, I think, where the BS word came out, very prominent, and you only heard that from Baltimore, right? That's a Baltimore.
Doesn't Philly do that too?
Well, they throw snowballs at Santa Claus. We respect our Santa Claus.
Well, that's God bless us for that.
But this is how I grew up, seeing sports. You report it, and that's how you affected my life. It's just like I had to get my news from you.
Well,
we were WJZ, and I know you're like, oh no. That 10 minutes was the greatest part of my day. especially when, and they don't do it as much now as when during the Orioles games, you guys would do the 5 and 6 o'clock on the field.
Oh, yeah. I love doing that. I love doing that. That's just, I appreciate what you say. Let me say that first and foremost. I never take for granted the impact, if you will, or the following. There was a gentleman. I was at Johns Hopkins. I go to the Wilmer Clinic because I got this one bad eye, and I'm going in, and this one gentleman who parks cars said, "Mark Viviano." Like, people are just so kind, and it's humbling to me that even now in retirement, people are kind. And the guy goes, "I know you're retired, but you'll always be my sports guy." And like, when you hear that, I'm like,
it humbles you a little bit. You're like,
100%. Like, and I've never thought of myself as a big deal. I came from a very humble family, and it would be wrong for me to think that I'm any different or better than anybody else. I'm just honored to have been a guy who was in a position to give you sports. That's really it. And when people say nice things, it really does hit me, and it's so appreciated.
Because now it's like, it's so diluted. It really, I hate to speak that way, but it is very diluted. You get, the last thing I want to hear is prognosticators. And I don't care.
I never liked it.
I hate the backstories.
I never liked it. The prognostication piece of it, it is so much a part of what everybody feels like they have to do. When in fact, the reason I like sports, that my draw to sports is that I don't know what's going to happen. And the mystery of the unfolding of human competition is what draws me to games. I could watch, 8th grade girls softball if it's tied in the 7th inning. How's this going to end?
Right, 'cause
I'll watch anything. I love that. I don't like when I'm asked who's going to win. I'll play along only out of necessity because they wanted me to, but I don't like it.
Yeah. So as a coach, for me, I think my drug is winning, right? That's the...
Wait. What age you coaching?
I coach, so now I'm coaching 12U girls basketball.
Nice.
I coach, this is where you say I don't have any time. How am I doing this?
Yeah.
Don't ever tell my wife where my time goes. And then I coach high school baseball.
You do?
That's where I'm going today.
Get out
of here, yeah.
Good for you. I'm coaching 10U travel ball in Severna Park. Dude, that is some of the most fulfilling work to see, to help young people get better at something, maybe not just get better, but form just a desire to keep playing.
Yeah.
That's huge, and good for you to do it at that level.
You walking around town, you brought the sports to us. You were in my household, but to walk around my town or Edgewater, and people go, Coach Ed, or come up and give me a hug, and I'm like, I get little tears in my eyes.
That's meaningful.
Like, to be known is like the biggest thrill of life, right? To ever be known. But people are like, I think the biggest thing you probably find this now is, I hate dealing with parents. Everybody has an opinion.
Well, we got to deal with them.
Right.
And don't hate it. Just embrace the challenge of it. Just, because it's another opportunity to teach. When a parent comes at you with ideas about how you coach, listen, and then offer a correction.
Correct.
Because parents, hey, you're coaching their kid, you're coaching them too. You're coaching them on how to be a sports parent. Sometimes you have to. It's okay. Do it gently.
And as you're finding out now, people go, well, this is easy. You're a volunteer coach or a paid coach or what. I never understood why coaches were so tired at the end of the season until I coached football for one season.
Wow, yeah.
I was completely exhausted.
Sure.
And I was just like, this is what they go through. And NFL coaches, John Harbaugh, and I know this is where people are like, oh, he doesn't care. I think he's in more meetings all day long than you could ever fathom. He's probably from 6:30 a.m. all the way to 6:30 at night, probably beyond.
They wear it. They wear it intensely. It's high stakes. It's big money. It's big responsibility. It's their livelihood, and it's a lot of how they're defined professionally. And I recently sat down with John for a 20-minute interview for the Catholic Review podcast that I do.
Sure.
And after 18 years, he is as intense as ever about getting it right, doing it right, and treating people well. And his spirituality is a big part of what he brings to each of the players, not just a team, but each of his players. He connects with them. It's important to him, and it's exhausting.
Yes.
To your point, it's a lot.
It's a lot, because even when I was, I got to work at training camp as a EMT. And I remember we were not allowed on no cell phones, or not allowed on this. And just to see John bouncing through meeting after meeting after meeting, he made me exhausted. I was there for probably 3 hours.
Yeah.
To your review, are your kids in Catholic school, or?
No, we go to public school. We do faith formation, and actually now in retirement, my wife and I both teach faith formation classes at St. John's, the Evangelist, and my children attend those. So yeah, it's important.
Are you going to keep them in public school, or is this
for now? Yeah, for now we are, but we're looking at the high school age is probably a good time to transition. We'll see. So far so good. It's a great school district. They've got good friends. They've got great teachers, and you continue to monitor the progress towards making any possible changes you might. But being a parent now, that's job one. That's job one, man.
Because my daughter is an exceptional goalie. She's 12 years old. She went to, and this is where I was going to touch on things with you, is what age do you start the recruitment process?
Ooh,
we took her to our recruiting match. She's in 7th grade. We took her to our recruiting, high school recruiting event.
Okay.
And I believe you know of the school, Archbishop Spalding.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Has showed interest in her.
Okay.
And I want to go.
Lacrosse? Soccer? What
Lacrosse.
Is she? Oh,
she's
okay.
an exceptional goalie.
Okay. Let the coaches know.
Right. Archbishop Spalding. We were going there for an open house on Sunday, and she's so excited. And I thought when the coaches came up to talk to her afterwards and go, "Oh, we would like you to come to the," I didn't think. We have a great high school, South River High School. Uh-huh. It's a great school district. I just never thought she would go, I want to go there. Because I was like, we're all your friends. But my daughter's so open. Well, this one daughter. My other daughter, you want to get into scratch the surface of that. But I just wanted to see what your feeling was. I knew you were a more religious person now that you've left, or as
let's just say I can express it now.
Yeah, exactly.
Under the umbrella and responsibility of being working for corporate media, that's not the platform by which you can, share your faith openly. Now more so, obviously, writing for Catholic Review and doing podcasts for Catholic Review, and that it's always been the most important thing in my life. It just hasn't been something I've been able to speak about, proclaim, and try to.
You have to separate it,
right?
Yeah,
I just all I want to do is inspire and encourage others when it comes to, and it doesn't have to be faith-based, but just helping others, really, because you're going to find your way, but that we're all called to do that. So to the question of recruiting and when my kids are 10 and 7 years old, so
but you got them in travel baseball.
Yeah, and that's because he loves it, and he was good enough. And I make it clear that he knows that, dude, you got a roster spot here, and there are other kids that wish they had your spot. You work. And that's one of the keynotes that I have to all these 10-year-old boys is, guys, we have to work to be good, because down in that part of when you're playing Broadneck and Severn and Lakeshore,
especially your area,
Broadneck, they're powerhouses.
The powerhouse,
dude. You want to kids? They're gonna crush you if we don't work hard. So what do you want to do? And and I'm not all about, my drug is not winning at this level. High school level, I can understand that's more important, but I just want them to be good teammates, good players, good people, and hopefully proficient at the sport.
And then if my daughter said one day, I don't want to play goalie, I don't want to play sports, cool. You have to finish your season, and we'll walk away. Well, we're not just going to walk away because we're going to walk away.
Yeah, finish the project. Absolutely.
Well, I think we're going to wrap it up here. We're going to. This was a great honor to me, because I got to meet who was on the TV. When you take a person off your TV and bring them in here, and I'm sure maybe you have some of that when you're interviewing certain people, like you see John Harbaugh on the headlines and TV, and you're like, you meet him in person, it's like a whole different persona.
It is different. I mean, we're all people, man.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it's not about your bank account, your car, your house, your clothes. It's just people. And never lose sight of that. I don't care who the other person is. He's just a person. And I'll always stay grounded in that. And there's no hierarchy of significance. And anybody who gets caught up in that is on the wrong track.
Yeah.
They just are. But I appreciate the spirit of you saying what you said, and that's good, and it means a lot to me. But it's my honor to be here talking to you, dude. It's all good.
You. If you want to see more Mark Viviano, not only on your TV, but on all your social media platforms, where can we find you?
I still have a X account. I don't use it much. I try to just keep it positive, sometimes spiritual. I'm still the one sports broadcast thing I still do is on Masson. It's Touchdown Baltimore with Tom Davis, Mike Preston, and Bruce Laird. I still do that because Tom is a dear friend, and it's old school. We do it at Pete's Cycle or Royal Farms or Adams Jeep. It's very old school Baltimore, so I really like that. I love Baltimore. It's my home. It's where I'm raising my kids, and it's all good. And I see you guys as very Baltimore-centric guys, and that's why I wanted to bring it. Yeah. That's why I wanted to talk to you guys, because I think it's awesome what you're doing.
So if you want to comment, like, ring the dang bell, and do something, but share us as much as possible. We're here with Mark Viviano, sharing Baltimore.